Hey gentlemen, it's me, your guy's spiritual advisor, and as a fan of movies in general, I understand the Oscars are on tonight, and I wanted to do like a independent Oscars personal nomination from a fan to the stars. Now, I hope you guys like the embroidery and customized tactical turtleneck in my design. It's about $100 leather coat, if the price tag is important, but I consider $100 for a coat to be a pretty good deal. And I want to go through the two categories that I narrowed it down to today. One is going to be action films and one is going to be science fiction. I will pick 5 films from each. I want to start with the movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. One of the best movies I've ever seen. I'm going to call it an action movie because of the different scenarios that play out. You have this guy who is born with bones that break very easily. Now, I myself can't relate. I'm very independent and self-sufficient, but in the movie, the character Samuel L. Jackson, he intentionally creates destruction because he's looking for somebody who he deems to be indestructible. And then the character Bruce Willis comes around where it's like they've been fucking with Bruce his entire life and trying to kill him off, but he just doesn't die. And he becomes stronger and more resilient throughout time. And he realizes that he's truly unbreakable. So it's a really good movie, one of the best I've ever seen. Terrific acting. The second one I'm going to talk about is Transporter with Jason Statham. That's kind of the movie that took his career off, but in my opinion, that was his absolute best. And it's about a guy who has precious cargo he needs to transport, but he cannot ever open the package. And he breaks the rules and opens the package after discovering some shit's fucked up, and he took on a job that he later on regret. And some shit goes crazy. It's a good film. Check it out. The next one, Men of Honor with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Robert De Niro. So it's about a guy that goes to the Navy. He's black, and it's at a time where he's facing a lot of racism. Robert De Niro, the guy who is his captain or whatever, what do you call like people who train? I don't know what you call it, but he trains them in Navy school, and he puts them through a series of shit tests, and he expects them to quit. He discriminates against them. And he keeps on pushing him and pushing him. And it's like the more he pushes Cuba Gooding Jr., the more Cuba Gooding Jr. says, fuck that, I'm never going down. And no matter what, I will achieve success. And by the end, he became a successful Navy diver. The next one, Equilibrium. Christian Bale. This one really gets me because it's almost reality today. It's a dystopian society where people are trained to reject their emotions. They see empathy as problematic, and should anybody become empathetic in this dystopian society, they need to administer them a drug to suppress their emotions so that they don't feel any empathy, but they also hate the idea of love, and they really, really, really hate art. So if you see like a modern art masterpiece, he needs to destroy it. And that's kind of what these people are all about until Christian comes to a pivotal point in the film where he realizes he likes art. He wants to see beauty. He wants to feel love. So as his mindset changes, he ends up going to war with these psychopaths who hate the idea of love. They don't want any happiness. They hate art. And all hell breaks loose. It's a pretty good film. The last one on my list is The Equalizer, Denzel Washington. Probably the best action movie I've ever seen. One of the best anyways. And I don't need to explain in detail, but you guys got to check it out for yourself. Denzel always delivers. And it's based off of the same people who did Training Day. Did that one. The first time I watched Training Day was at a guy's house where I survived the night and I didn't die. So if he's watching now, hey buddy, I don't want anything to do with you. Now we're going to go through my sci-fi picks. Hope you guys like the embroidery. It's a tactical turtleneck. Looks good, doesn't it? So we have the movie Upside Down. Ironically, I was just talking about how in dystopian, futuristic societies, all hell breaks loose, and that's what they want. Chaos through order. But in the movie Upside Down, the world is split into two different sections. A below and above section. And the people below are the ones who are considered like accessories to the ones who are above. They don't view them as people, they view them as objects and accessories. Like, you can call a person a sofa or something. It's an accessory you can purchase because they feel they are above them. They feel they are better than them. And these people above who are the owners and CEOs of all these technologies and different companies, they want the people below to come work for them, but they still treat them like an accessory. They don't value them. They don't really care what happens to them. And in the movie, the girl who lives below falls in love with I got it the other way around. The guy who lives below falls in love with the woman who lives above. And they forever try to meet each other. And they fight between their families of the person who's below and the person who is above. It's a pretty good movie. The next one, I'm saying Star Trek 2009. I'm not going to explain in detail why I like it so much. There's a shitload of Star Trek movies out there. I'm not a Trekkie, but Star Trek 2009 was awesome. And the next one, Prometheus, like an alien prequel. Probably the best out of the alien. Probably the best out of the alien movies that I've ever seen. And it's about these intergalactic beings who declare themselves to be gods. And they want to be seen as, much like I just said in the other film, they want to be seen as better, but I don't believe in aliens personally. I believe in energy. I believe that we are all connected through energy. And life in itself is energy, but there's no alien life outside of Earth. And I think until it's proven, we're just wasting time lying to people and deceiving them. If you tell me you can prove it, I would respectfully call you a liar, because there are no aliens, only the idea of aliens. What they really mean is demons. What they really mean is people who test secret technologies, but I won't get into specifics. The next one, Passengers. Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, I think her name is. They realize they're on this space shuttle where they're the only passengers there, and they're surrounded by robotic, soulless vessels. No, they're not surrounded. They're just the only ones there. And I can't remember why that happened, but they have a robotic bartender who pours them drinks, but it doesn't have any emotion. And then there's just two humans on a space shuttle. And it's like, oh shit, well, we don't have a choice but to like each other because we're the last people there, right? Now, I myself can't relate. I'm sure if I was the last man on Earth and there was a woman who was the last woman on Earth, she would find a lot of problems with me and I would find a lot of problems with her, but at least we're honest about it. And the last one, Her, with Joaquin Phoenix, where he falls in love with his operating system. And despite having opportunities, he has a really good shot with a woman who he meets up for a date with, and he could have landed a really good deal with a great girl. And instead, he finds reasons and excuses not to go the distance and pursue that, and he chooses an operating system. And then he sulks, he whines, he cries to his operating system about his divorce not being a success. And I warned somebody before. I'm not exactly a Casanova, but I warned somebody. I said, if you just settle down with anybody because you don't want to be alone, you're gonna have a fucked up marriage and your life's gonna be shit. But I can't speak as an experienced person who marries a lot because I've never been married. And I actually see it as a scam, but to each their own. Anyways, those were my top 10 picks for the independent Oscars. I am simply a fan, so don't mind me. I'm not saying I want a lot of attention or anything. I'm just a fan reviewing some films, giving my personal opinion on the best ones. And if anybody famous saw it, they can say whatever they want to say, but the way I see it is, if you're giving me attention, it's not like I asked for it, and if you have to tell me that I'm no good, and that I couldn't act in a movie, or that I couldn't perform a live gig as a musician, if you had to tell me that as a famous person, and talk down on me with disrespect, the chances are I'm pretty damn good at what I'm doing, and you're only lying to yourself because I know my worth. But it wasn't a defense for my case. I'm just stating the facts, and I'm a fan reviewing it. So if you enjoyed this independent Oscar nomination from a fan personally, this is my own tactical turtleneck. It's a custom embroidery. I think it's pretty sexy. 40 had never been better. That's like a Wayne's World spin-off hat, I guess. I didn't celebrate my 40th birthday because I didn't have anybody that wanted to celebrate me, but I didn't get sad about it. I said, fuck birthdays, I reject them. And then I never celebrated the tradition again. So rock on, gentlemen.